dropping towards him from quite a height from poor Gascoigne. So to follow it round, which he has to do as he pivots and spins, and to actually catch up with it with your foot and then strike the ball as cleanly as that is some skill to perform.
Chip in there, and play scored!
As soon as the ball's there and as soon as it's left his foot, you think, something special. Absolutely something special. To do that in such a high-intensity, high-profile game, minutes from the end, seconds from the end, if you like, to be able to pull that off and have the confidence to do that. One of the great England goals in a World Cup.
Gascoigne chips it in. I think he's hoping for the best. I think it would be pushing it to say that he knew exactly where the ball was going to land and that Platt would swing a volley onto it. It's a brilliant finish, fantastic finish, and a crucial, crucial goal for England.
I remember Ian Wright talking to David Platt at the training ground and saying, "Oh, Platt, that goal was lucky." And Platt came out with the age-old saying, you know, the more I practice, the luckier I get. What I remember most about the 1978 tournament was that you could hit a ball from the halfway line and it seemed to be flying into the top corner. Poor old Tino's off. He didn't even sniff it.
Maybe the best goalkeeper in the world at the time. Now, it's not only a shot of real power, but it's a shot by a player who's got real confidence in his ability to produce that kind of power, because you don't take ons off from that kind of range unless you know you can beat him.
15 minutes between Holland and another World Cup final. Long distance shot is in! What a goal by Harry Hart!
Hit this ball with such swerve and it moved so much. I mean, Zopf really did dive to full stretch and got absolutely nowhere near. I mean, it was a stunning strike.
Phenomenal. It's possibly the goal from that somebody's meant from the longest distance that I've ever seen. And you knew he meant it.
He just couldn't resist, could he? It just came down off his chest and he thought, I'm having a bit of that. I don't care if this goes out of the stadium. I am going to hit this.
Oh, yes! A fabulous strike by Maxi.
Maxi Rodriguez takes it so well, but it was the finish, the volley. Apart from taking it on his chest and coming inside the full back, it was an absolutely crackerjack of a shot. Left foot volley, taken on his chest. Fantastic goal. We'd heard so much about this young phenomena, Pelé.
Here was Pelé, a teenager, scoring a superb goal in a World Cup final. I think the context, you know, has to be remembered, and that's why this goal definitely deserves to be up near the top.
What would be the three most difficult skills for a footballer? Would chest control, lifting the ball over a defender and running around him in the space of a yard, and then timing a volley of a falling ball, would they be three of the most difficult skills that a footballer has got to perform? Probably.
I don't know how anybody that young can have that much brilliance about them.
That goal still looks as good as if it would have been played today.
I guess we've still got a couple of great individual runs to come. Could be wrong, but a certain number 10 here runs probably as far as the other two famous number 10s put together before he scores his goal. It's some goal.
And again the Saudis break very sharply. What a terrific run this is. Wonderful piece of football. He's still in here. Oh, that's the greatest goal of the tournament. A fabulous goal.
That goal was one of those where you go, you know, I don't really think he knows what he's doing. He's just running with the ball. He's just running with the ball. And suddenly he's in the penalty area and he's being tackled and he's holding things off and he's got these great big spidery legs. It didn't look like sort of brain and legs were connected, but suddenly the ball was in the back of the net and you look round and you think, how has he done that?
I think if he was Brazilian, we'd be talking more about this goal than we are. So I think, you know, a huge credit to a Saudi Arabian player who can score a goal at that calibre, at that level.
What an absolute peach that goal was by Owairan of Saudi Arabia. And for it not to be in our top 5 means we have some exceptional finishes still to come. We have a Dutch master, the greatest player of all time, and the greatest team of all time. But who and what will top the pile. We have finally reached the top 5 in our countdown of World Cup greatest goals, which means, of course, that we have 5 worldies to show you. At 5, cast your minds back, please, to 1998, when a young Englishman made his mark on the world stage.
England schoolboy player, prolific scorer. Was he too young to put into the England team? He wasn't.
I was in the stadium that night and Beckham passes him the ball and you think, OK, hold it up. You know, we've been under a bit of pressure. Don't do anything silly. Let's just kill the game. Let's calm everything down.
Beckham now to Owen, and here's another Owen run. He's going to worry them again. It's a great run by Michael Owen, and he might finish it off. Oh, it's a wonderful goal! What an amazing moment in Michael Owen's young career.
He was so precocious at that time. You know, a teenager who didn't have any fear. He said, well, OK, I may be a kid, but I'm going to take you all by surprise. And suddenly, the fear was in the Argentinians' eyes. As he moved towards them, they were backing off, and you're thinking, OK, now just pass it. And you could see Paul Scholes appearing out of the corner of your eye, and you're thinking, give it to Scholesy, give it to Scholesy. And you can actually see Scholesy screaming for the ball. And Owen ignores him, absolutely ignores him, and lashes it in. And you think, hold on, that's one of ours doing that against the Argentinians. This really could be our night. This is sensational.
That was Michael Owen in 1998. He was, you know, fast as a blur to begin with, but just so wonderfully, naively confident. Nothing fazed him, nothing bothered him. He was on that stage and he felt that he belonged from the beginning, and so once he finished the run, smash it into the top corner, and that's what he did.
You take away that memory and you take away the memory of a press box, jaded, cynical hacks, if you like, all to a man. Even some of the Scottish guys in the press box, and I'm sure they won't thank me for saying so, were up on their feet just looking at each other in disbelief. And as the players were hugging each other and scrambling to get to Michael Owen, a load of journalists were looking at each other going, yes, and throwing our arms around each other.
Laptops flying everywhere, pens, notepads. People just couldn't help themselves. I mean, here was a young lad coming in at this huge tournament and just, well, just treating it as if it was a park game. It was, I think, definitely the greatest World Cup goal scored by an Englishman, that's for sure.
It's a wonderful moment because it's a goal for Mexico in Mexico City in front of 120,000 people. Anybody who's watched football in Mexico will never forget it.
Negrete. And Negrete again! Magnificent goal!
It was a great move.
As he plays the 1-2, the ball never touches the ground.
I think there are 5 touches there and the ball touches the ground once. It's just tip, tap, tap, tap. It's like a little training ground game that they're playing where the ball's not allowed to touch the ground until it touches the back of the net.
The scissor kick was perfection. You know, he's thrown himself up and you think, oh, he's diving for a penalty, but then suddenly he's swiveled and he's just spun the ball into the far corner across the goalkeeper.
Volley's actually hit with a lot of control. There's a lot talked about body position in analysis of volleying a ball, and I don't think you'll find any football textbook which says that the body position should be completely horizontal, as it is in that case. But somehow Negrete finds the kind of balance to be able to steer the ball exactly where he wants it to go.
Everything about that goal was South American. You know, everybody forgets that, you know, the Mexicans have got the touch, the equal of a Brazilian, of an Argentinian, and the vision to be able to do that was outstanding.
3 touches, and I don't know which is my favourite. Control, turn, finish. Can you think of anybody who could have scored that goal with that kind of style and panache? Anybody? I can't.
Long ball play towards Bergkamp. Bergkamp's come inside, and Bergkamp has scored a sublime goal, the sort of goal that only he can score.
Just remember the pass as much as anything. Bergkamp had peeled off, and De Boer to pick him out inch perfectly from probably 50 or 60 yards, the control from Bergkamp, the balance to take it past the defender, and then just that little stab off the outside of his foot. He didn't panic, he didn't rush. It was like ice water sort of flowing through his veins, you know, despite the fact it was 90 degrees and it was this huge match against Argentina.
I think if you know the man, you understand the goal. He's one of those players who goes cool in what I call hot situations, and the way that he touched the ball, brought it inside the fella and knocked it in is genius, really.
The stage was set. England against Argentina. Maradona, this phenomenal, squat, quick, elusive player. He took the ball in the centre of the field, and there was Peter Reid.
Number 16, is he? Starts to chase Maradona, and actually Reedy, for a chugger, was no slouch over the first few yards. But after about 3 paces, he kind of starts to wave him goodbye, and Peter satisfies himself with having one of the best views in the house and one of the best goals ever scored.
I remember speaking to Peter about it a few years ago and saying, you know, Pete, why didn't you just hack him down on the halfway line? I said, you had the chance. He said, I couldn't even get close enough to kick him. He said, that's how good he was.
I think, to be honest, now he looks back, he can also just feel a privilege to have been on the same pitch as possibly the world's greatest player, playing possibly his greatest ever game.
But we haven't been able to control the play in midfield the way that Maradona has been able to do. And he's hurting England again here. It's a brilliant run. It's one of the World Cup great goals.
The vision, the pace, the balance, but just the strength to hold off 5 or 6 tackles. And even when Terry Butcher comes in and slides in, most players would have collapsed underneath it. But Maradona had the wherewithal to keep his balance, pick his spot, and although Terry Butcher will tell you he probably got the last touch, it's not one that he's ever going to claim.
I think he's dethroned Pele. I've never seen such a wonderful player. He's fantastic.
It is a fantastic moment, and David Pleat said it straight away. You know, this is the best player in the world now, and that was the goal, probably his greatest ever goal.
I remember that Azteca Stadium in Mexico went absolutely crazy, and of course I think England, tongue-in-cheek, really knew that they'd seen a goal scored against them of the very, very, very highest quality.
It's the goal that the victory and the team deserved. It's what they could do. No other team at that World Cup could do that. Maybe no other team before or since has been able to do that. It is their signature moment.
It just epitomises all that's great about Brazilian football. Pace, the rhythm, the balance, the control, and a stunning finish at the end.
I think everyone can understand this being the winning goal, the context, the Brazil 1970 team. There's just a joy about it that I think sums up the 1970 Brazil side, and well, it makes you smile to watch it, doesn't it? It's exuberant, and that's what Brazilian football is.
It only happened once in the 1970 World Cup, and we know who did that. I don't think Brazil are going to do it here. Erzino, faced by Facchetti. Oh, it's not a bad ball for Pele on the right side. It's Carlos Alberto. And what a great goal that was!
Everything about that goal was just was perfection personified. The little turns, the little drag backs, and then suddenly Carlos Alberto came charging up from the back. You know, he must have run 40 or 50 yards just to get on the end of it. It was absolutely magnificent.
This goal really epitomised everything about Brazil, the way they waited for players to come and support, the way they took their time, the way they worked the ball from the left of the field to the right of the field, and the way Pele just held the ball and waited and almost teased the Italian defence. And then at the last second, when he knew that Carlos Alberto was on his shoulder, he just waited and slipped that ball as though to say, here it comes, here it comes. And Carlos Alberto came and thundered that shot into the far corner. That was beautiful football.
Well, it seems only fair, really, that the #1 spot goes to that seminal Brazilian World Cup winning team from 1970, although any of the top 5 could have been worthy winners. We've seen some great goals, and I hope brought back some great memories.
Oh, it's not a bad ball for Pele on the right side. It's Carlos Alberto. And what a great goal that was!